Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nick Williams, and this is a test video just to test out my new recording equipment. So we're going to see how this goes. Going to do a tiny little bit of tutorial to kind of show off how this whole setup works. Think it's going to be okay. I hope it's going to be okay. I'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick thing about how to make this rocky texture that I do for my hills. It's very simple, very quick and easy to make. So I use styrofoam, which is the basic sort of building material that I use for all my landscaping, and I use a heavy duty retractable knife. What's called a box cutter, I believe, in the US, perhaps in the UK as well, but it's just a retractable knife to me. So I've changed the blade just before starting the recording. Always use a sharp blade with styrofoam because it does dull blades very, very quickly. So to make this hill, I'm going to cut out a rough shape. I guess something like that will do. It's quite a small hill, I think, but it will serve its purpose. So I'm just going to cut this out. A little bit of tear in there because I didn't cut it correctly, but still. And I'm just going to smooth out some of these rough corners. So, the rocks then. First thing I need to do is start cutting some triangles out of here. Just like this. And this sort of defines the very outline of these rocks. Just very quick, very rough. I'll only do half of it because it might take quite a while otherwise. I'm just going to do a little more trimming just to stuff like that. Cool. So next step is to take the top off some of these rocks. So I'm just holding the knife at a little bit of an angle and just going around the edges like this. So this is giving us some very basic rock shapes. Again, you don't need to be artistic about it. Just start cutting randomly, pretty much, and see what you get. Now, one of the things you'll notice that by doing this, you actually take quite a bit of material off the outside. So when you're making sort of your hill shape, if you have a specific hill shape size in mind, not just shape but size, do it sort of half an inch to an inch bigger than you actually want the final hill to be, because you'll trim quite a bit of the excess off. So you do need to cut the original size out a bit bigger at first. So we have some very basic rough outlines, but what you can see is that we just have kind of one size fits all, which doesn't look too good. What we actually want is bits like here. If I can send that in the camera, that's the sort of thing that I need to work on, where there's a ridge, and here, and these ridges make it look just a little bit less uniform, and they're very easy to do. So all you do is cut into the foam, go down about a centimetre, maybe more, but not all the way through, and then holding the knife horizontally, you can just cut away a chunk like that, and you have a little ridge. And I'm just going to do a few more cuts. You don't need to be perfect, so what you'll notice, if I can get this close enough, and I don't know if the autofocus will work or not, doesn't quite look like it, but come on, autofocus. Ooh, a little bit of autofocus there. Yep. So what you can see is, you can actually see, maybe you can't, that I cut quite a bit deeper than the horizontal ledge. That's not a problem, even though I cut down further than where the ledge is. It's not a problem. You don't have to be perfect when you're sort of making that initial vertical cut down. So I'll just do another one here. Another one here. And this is sort of cutting that you really need to have a sharp knife blade for, because otherwise if you have a dull blade, you'll tear the foam instead of cutting. Now, tearing it, it's a different technique. It gives a different sort of rock face technique, but in this instance we want to be cutting the foam rather than tearing it. Just do another one here. So get that in like that, and that one like that. And so, yep, if I hold this up now, you can see that we have lots of ridges there. So it reduces that kind of all the rocks the exact same height. Now, just put this away. Obviously, with a full hill, I'd go all the way around with doing these cuts before moving on to the next stage. But for the sake of demonstration, I think you get it. This is the next thing that you're going to be using. It's a stone. And that's it. It's just a big stone that I grabbed from the garden and washed it to get all the dirt off. I think it's actually a big bit of mortar. Yeah. So this is all you need, just a really rough textured stone. So not a flat thing. This has got lots and lots of really rough, rocky textures. And all you do is you take your bit of foam, you take your big stone, and you start smashing the stone in. And you need to use quite a bit of force to get the best imprint. Now, while styrofoam does take texture really well, it doesn't take a perfect copy of it, so you really do need to mash it in. You actually need to mash it in so hard that you start to get little tears. I'm not sure I've quite got them yet, but I will. There we go. So if I just hold that up now, what you can see is you start to get these tears in the foam, and that's good. That just helps to emphasise the rock effect, and that just means that you've pretty much compressed the foam as far as you can at that point. So I'm just going to go around, press the rock in the sides, on this bit here, and you'll also notice that I go around the edge as well, and that's the same on this one here. So that just means that when I'm texturing this, when I'm flocking it, I would put stone and flock all the way on the top, but just on the edges where the rocks start to appear, it's got that rocky texture. So the stones would go pretty much the gravel would go pretty much all the way up to the edge of the rocks, but even where the gravel stops, there's still going to be some rock texture there. So it's not like you have a little bit of sand, and then perfectly flat styrofoam, and then the rock. So you have your sand, which overlaps with the edge of where that stone texture comes in. But seriously, it's pressing a big stone into foam, and that's the rocky texture that you get. If this is going to focus, yay, there we go. And yep, we have a nice rocky face, and that's great. That paints up fantastically. So I hope this was a good demonstration, particularly of my my setup. I'm going to be expanding this with a better microphone and perhaps a webcam to look at my face if people actually want to see that. Not sure that they do though. Anyway, hope this is well, I hope it's worked, and I hope it's useful. Cheers.